there, my name is Wendy with LUVLY.com. I'm excited that you're here with me today. Today is our second installment of kind of a 101 class in card making. So today we are going to be reviewing stamps. We're going to go over how stamps are used, different types of stamps, how to put them together, different inks that you might use with certain stamps, things like that. And I hope to show you some tips and tricks as we go through this. And if you have any questions, as always, drop them in the comments below. I always appreciate it when you give me a thumbs up or you leave me a comment or subscribe to my channel. So here we go, let's get started. Okay, so today I want to show you different stamp sets, how you use them and stuff like that. So we're going to start with red rubber cling stamps. Now I have a couple of here, different ones here that I want to show you, and there's a reason I'm showing you two different ones. This first one is what we call a background stamp. So it's a really large stamp and it covers the entire surface of a regular size card. In the US, a regular size card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when you're referring to card making. That's an A2 size card. And so you'll hear that a lot in videos and stuff like that. So a stamp set like this covers the entire card front. Okay, so Stampin' UP stamps come separate from their sticker. So on the back of this, there's a protective sheet of paper, and you can just pull it off like this. And then you have this other piece that is a sticker that's going to fit onto your stamp. Now, in this case, it splits in the middle here. And you want to peel the backing off first. And I'm going to show you another way to do this as well. But in this case, we're going to peel the backing off here. I'm going to lay this down flat, and then I'm going to line up the stamp facing the right way. So for me, on this one, I'm just looking at the pattern here at the top to make sure it matches this pattern. And I'm just going to start at the top corner, go down, and I can tell I'm a little off kilter there, so I get a chance to pull it up. It is very sticky, so you do have to be careful. So we're just lining it up and pressing it down. And then we will peel this part away, and you are left with a sticky cling foam stamp. Now, the reason it needs to be sticky is because it sticks to a clear block. And when you have a smaller stamp, you would use a small clear block, and we'll show you that. But in this case, because this is a big background stamp, I like to use our stamp positioning tool called the Stamparatus. Now, the Stamparatus will get covered in a totally different video for like card making. But really quickly, when you have a red rubber cling stamp, you just place it in like this, close the gate or the panel, lift it up, and now you can stamp with this. You just add your ink over here on this side, put your paper here, and just stamp down, and it gives you very nice even coverage. So that is an option for these really big stamps. Stampin' Up does sell a clear block that is big enough to fit these on, but I find that they're very difficult to handle because they are so big. I do have small hands, so that might be part of the reason. And then you just store your stamp back in the case just like this, and close it, of course, after cleaning it, and we will cover cleaning your stamps. Okay, to get our next stamp set ready to stamp, I thought I would show you this stamp set in the moment. I have not put it on its stickers yet, and I wanted to show you this really incredible, brilliant way to add your stickers to your cling stamps. Now, there's a lot of opinion out there about cling stamps versus a clear photopolymer stamp. And, you know, honestly, I think it's just personal preference. So we're going to figure out which sticker we need, which is this one right here. And this time, rather than peeling the backing off here, I'm actually going to pick the entire sticker up like this out of the frame. We're going to take a clean, clear block and place it onto the block. And I learned this trick from my team member Melinda Hart. So, and it's something I've actually learned fairly recently. So the beauty of that is to show you that no matter how long you've been doing this, there's still new tricks to be learned. So I'm just trying to, there we go. So then we're going to peel the backing away. And now check this out. We can put our cling stamp down, and we can take our sticker and go right over the top, and it will line up perfectly. Press it down and it is adhered to your stamp. Isn't that incredible? So simple, so quick and easy, and I just love it. It's such a great tip. Okay, so in this, while I'm showing you this, these are our clear blocks from Stampin' Up. A clear block, I like to have lots on hand. These clear blocks have a little beveled edge here, so for me, I find it makes it really easy to hold on to. Your fingers just kind of slide and fit right into this groove. Not all clear blocks are like that, so some of them are just flat edged, and I definitely appreciate the Stampin' Up clear blocks with that groove or that beveled edge, so that when you hold them, you're holding them very comfortably. They're very well made. You can get them in a set, or you can buy them individually, and they're super handy. So if you're brand new to stamping, the thing you need besides stamps is clear blocks. It's really important. Now, if you want, you can also add in that Stamparatus tool. Like I said earlier, this is a great tool to have on hand, but you can live without this for some time. You really can't live without a clear block. So I'll show you the next type of stamps that Stampin' Up sells. We'll just put this to the side for now. I can put those together later. Stampin' Up also sells photopolymer stamps. Most of Stampin' Up's photopolymer stamps are sold so that if you have a layering set where an image is going to layer on another image and you need to be able to see right through, then they sell it in this format. And then that way you never miss on your stamping. These are high quality photopolymer stamps, and they come just like this. So all you have to do is take them off of the clear acetate and add them into your stamp case. And then you'll always know exactly where they go. Now, photopolymer stamps are sticky by nature. Okay, it's sticking to my finger. And you also use those lovely clear blocks when you're mounting these. The difference with photopolymer stamps is they're very movable, okay? So what I like to do is just toss them down on my desk like that. So I've let go and they've really kind of just stuck to their original shape. And then you can pick them up just like this. Now, the great thing about them being able to be manipulated is if you have a straight stamp set like this one, but you would like it to kind of curve, you can actually make that happen by just taking a clear block, putting one at one end, and then curving it around. And now this has a nice curve to it. So there's ways that you can manipulate these stamps that you cannot do with a red rubber stamp. Now, with these stamps, they tend to stain. And this is something that a lot of people kind of get persnickety about. They feel, you know, they use it one time and maybe they use it in the color red and it stains the photopolymer and they think it has been destroyed, that the stamp is no longer good. Actually, this is really weird, but when a photopolymer stamp stains, it actually indicates to you that it is a high quality photopolymer. The cheaper photopolymers that are out there that you might get at a big box store actually will not stain, and they have a much more plasticky feel, where these are very soft and supple and they move very easily and they're nice and sticky, but they're not hard. They're very flexible and soft to the touch. As you can see, I can like pull this. I mean, you don't want to do it too hard, but it's got a little bit of give to it. It's a very high quality, excellent product. So that is what photopolymer stamps are, and that is how they are used. Now you might be asking, well, what is the difference in stamping between a photopolymer stamp and a red rubber stamp or a cling stamp? This is a cling stamp. And basically the difference I have found, and I mean, you know, there's some that could probably argue this, is red rubber stamps have a really true stamp, meaning they have very crisp lines, very clean stamping, and you don't see a lot of manipulation with them unless you've either over inked your stamp or under inked it, or you're pushing super, super hard. With photopolymer stamps, I found you do have to have a steady, firm, but light press. So if you're stamping something with very narrow, skinny lines like this, and you press too hard, it's going to smush the stamp, because remember I said they're kind of supple. So if you stick this on a clear block and you push it down, rather than just lightly pushing it and giving it just a little firm touch, if you were to really push hard on this, it's going to smush your ink out. So let's do a little sample of that so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, we will just use my Memento Tuxedo black ink. This ink is really handy for alcohol markers and just stamping regular. So I'm really inking this up significantly, and I'm just gonna stamp kind of solid but soft, okay? And so I get a really nice image. Now I'm gonna take and ink it up, but I'm gonna push really hard. Okay, now the difference is subtle, but you can see the difference. See here where the word world is all smushed out and smushed together, and some of these lines are thicker. So if you are careful with your stamping and you just go down nice and solid and back up, you don't get that. Now what happens is when you get a lot of ink on these, or on any stamp that has a really small sentiment, you can get some pulling of ink. So you do sometimes need to clean your stamp in between. So since we're talking about cleaning, this is a Stampin' Scrub from Stampin' UP. I absolutely love this. And there's a lot of people out there that like using a shimmy or chamois, which I will show you here in just a second. Let me put to balance this out. Okay. So there's two options I use for cleaning stamps. So the first one is my Stampin' Scrub. This sits open, it's kind of got like bristles, and this sits open on my stamp desk all of the time. In these little corners, in here, it shows you little raindrops, and then on this one, it's a little sunshine. And that indicates to you that this side is meant to be spritzed with cleaner, and this side is meant to be dry, so that you have a place to dry your stamp off. This is Stampin' Mist Stamp Cleaner, and you just spritz it, take your clear block, scrub, and then come to the dry side and scrub, and now it has dried your stamp and cleaned it off. So I have this open on my desk at all times when I'm creating, because I use it continually, and I really like making sure all of my stamps are clean before they're put away. I absolutely never put a stamp away dirty. I don't want it to mess anything up, and I don't want it to erode at the stamp in case I don't use that stamp again for a really long time. So this is my preferred method of cleaning both photopolymer and red rubber cling stamps. I just scrub it in here, dry it in here. Now, when I'm using the Stamparatus, which is our stamp positioning tool, and I've got it open like this, and let's say I have a stamp here, it's gonna be kind of difficult for me to get this, or this does come off, but even still, you can see it's a little awkward to clean this here. So what I do, if I am using the Stamparatus and my stamp is mounted, is I take my Simply Chamois and I wipe the stamp like this, and that cleans it up. Now these chamois can be used again and again and again, and they don't transfer the ink unless it's extremely saturated, and then it will get on your hands. But for example, like right here where you see some ink, you can see it doesn't come off on my finger. Now, I keep mine in a little bitty mason jar. It needs to stay damp. So I keep it damp in a little bitty mason jar that has holes poked in the lid for breathability. I want it to be able to breathe, but I don't want it to dry out. So I have tried every method you can possibly imagine in regards to storing my chamois, and I have found for me, this is what works the best. It doesn't make my chamois stink, and my chamois stays nice and damp, so I can just continue to use it. If you live in a really humid climate, you might be able to store it in a different way, but I live in a fairly dry climate. Okay, so that is the basics of the stamps and what kind of stamps Stampin' Up! Offers. They come in these cool DVD boxes, is what I call them, and they have the label already in them. So when you receive them, you receive them exactly like I've shown you today. And then you just have to put them together by either placing them flat or, in this case, putting them on their foam stamp. So that's pretty much it. And then we're going to talk about how I organize and store these in a different video. I hope you had an amazing day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me about how I use stamps or any of the information I've shared today, please drop it in the comments below, or you can always contact me. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. Bye-bye.